Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Talk Football Live. I know you guys are going to say it's been a bit, but the English Premier League has been on a break. First of all, we had the international break for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
On the flip side, though, I feel like it was actually interesting because there was something at stake, right? We were trying to find out who was going to take those last few World Cup spots. So as
Yep.
opposed to the normal international breaks where it's just like boring friendlies, there was actually something to watch and like pay attention to this time.
Yep.
And then when we came back out of the break, it was the FA Cup weekend, and then it was Champions League, and now we're finally back to the English
Oh, we're
Premier
back
League.
home.
Yeah,
Mind
yeah.
you, how was your vacation? You
Man,
guys, you guys,
look.
how was
I think
Dubai? How was it? You guys went to Scotland, right?
we went to some place, man. But I think that some of my boys, this is like insider news. They ended up in Kinshasa, celebrating with the Congolese team that basically made it to the World Cup after 50 years, man. So that for me, that was basically huge for my guys.
Okay,
So yeah.
Okay.
okay,
They can
nice.
celebrate in Congo. Hopefully, someone will celebrate with them. So.
Look, we have vacation now. We use it where
Use their
Eh?
vacation very well because it's been like a month since they last played football.
look,
Hope
we were
hope you
there.
guys will be ready, but then you start you kick off this weekend.
We be ready. We be ready. We be ready.
All right, so it's been a while, so let's see. We're going into game week 32. City and Palace have a game in hand. They've played 30 games so far,
Mhm.
right? So I don't know if that fixture has been scheduled yet, but everyone else has 7 games to go. So let's
Go.
take a look at where the table currently stands, and we're gonna look at what the fixtures for each team looks like going towards the end of the season. So
Yeah.
Arsenal, City, Man U, Villa are currently in the top four. Like I said, City have a game in hand, and then a little further down below Villa, there's a 5 point gap here, right? You can see 1 point, there's 6 points here, but then there's a 5 point drop off to Liverpool, and then it starts to get a bit crowded here again, right? So
Yeah.
these 4 or 5 teams are battling for those last few European spots. That's where we currently stand. Even going down to maybe as far as Sunderland or Newcastle, right? It's just 7 points between Liverpool and fifth, which will be the last Champions League spot, and Sunderland, right? Sorry, Newcastle and Bournemouth. So
Newcastle.
it's 6 points. There's a little bit of a gap here to 3 points, but up here, it's still very close. 2, 3 games, this could all turn around.
Yep. This is a
Further down,
must win period. Can't afford
was
to
that?
lose again. It's a
Yeah,
must win period. Can't afford to lose again. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. For everybody.
Further down, Wolves and Burnley are pretty much, almost confirmed to be out. There's a 9 point gap between Burnley and West Ham. West Ham have, done their best. They've closed the gap. So between them and Leeds is 4 points. So there's a chance they could survive. Tottenham, as we know over the break, they fired Igor Tudor, and they've since brought in De Zerbi. You guys might remember De Zerbi from his time at Brighton.
Right.
Yeah.
He went to Marseille for a little bit, left there, and now he's back with us in the Premier League. So we'll see if he'll be able to save Tottenham from relegation. He said, regardless if they go down to the Championship, he's planning to stay with them. So
Okay.
interesting times to come.
I know, right?
How are you guys feeling? You ready?
Always.
You're always ready.
All right. The Premier League has done a really good job of breaking down what they call their fixture difficulty rating. So they rate a team's fixture according to how difficult they think that is. It's primarily based on position. But Leeds apparently have the easiest games going into the end of the season, along with Wolves. Again, so that tells us Leeds have a very good chance of surviving
Mhm.
relegation. Brighton maybe could climb the table because they have easier fixtures, quote unquote. This is all on paper, of course, right?
Yeah.
Arsenal and City challenging for the title, and Man U are right there in the middle of the pack. Then Bournemouth, Brentford, and Burnley apparently have the toughest fixtures. So I think Burnley is based on that. I shoe in for relegation, no chance of survival. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So we're going to focus on the main fixture or the big fixture this weekend is Chelsea versus Manchester United. And
City.
Man
Chelsea.
Man
City.
City, I believe,
Yeah.
What's that?
No, you said Chelsea, Man City this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, Man City come down to London. Chelsea, last time out, game week 31, you guys had a 3-0 loss on reply to Everton.
Okay. I was like, I thought you were talking about Man City. I was like, when do we do? Keep going. I know my memory.
No, last time out, Man City played around with you guys. You guys lost when last you faced Chelsea earlier in the season. I'll be when you faced Man City earlier in the season. But I'm talking of your last game.
Did we lose or we drew?
You lost
Against who? City. You
Against
lost.
City.
They played you guys like they're baby boys.
Against City, we drew.
this season.
Yeah.
Let me see.
In the league,
Yeah.
yes. Let me see.
I mean, we're talking about the league, aren't we?
Mhm.
We're talking about the league. I'm thinking of the last time you guys faced them.
No.
Which was in the
Carabao.
where was that? In the Carabao
Yes.
Cup.
I'm talking about
In the
in
league?
the league.
Yeah, 1-1.
In the league. It was a 1-1 draw in January.
Yes. And we were able to give them some injuries, which was grateful for. So just ask.
I thanked you guys after that game. Actually, I remember you guys did your part because unlike Liverpool, who just turn belly up and let Man City scratch their bellies like a little puppy, you guys actually turned up for the game.
That's it. That's the game I remember. So that was what I stuck in my head. That's how I was like 3-0 Everton. I know we should be talking about that game. But what do you have to say? Go ahead.
Well, what I was gonna say was there was a lot of pressure on our senior man Rosinho after that game. I think there were a couple of bad results around that time, and then culminated in that defeat. FA Cup, you guys played low opposition, and rightfully so, you took care of them 7-0. So there's good morale in the camp. How are you feeling coming into this game? Man City seem to have rediscovered their form. They're playing well. They're beating teams left, right, and center, but you guys are the home team this time around. How are you feeling?
When has that ever mattered? Anyway, how am I feeling? I'm feeling good. Honestly, I'm feeling like this game is going to show if the FA Cup game was really a fluke or not. Like you said, that was lower opposition. So now, regardless of what happens in this game, win, loss, or draw, we just need to see the fighting spirit. We just need to see that they can actually go toe-to-toe with a team as big as Manchester City. How am I feeling? I'm feeling kind of indifferent. Like, I know even if we lose this game, there are still 6 games to go and we can step up. I mean, we have difficulty level is actually quite high for us, as you showed earlier. So I'm not too optimistic against Manchester City because, like you said, they are waking up at the right time. We see what they're doing. They already have a trophy in their cabinet, and they're gunning for 2 more. So I don't think it will be an easy game, regardless of us being at home or not. But I expect us to fight. Whatever the result ends up being, I won't be surprised. Win, loss, or the win will probably shock me, but happily shocked. But a draw and loss, it will make sense because, like I said, it's like you said actually, Rosinha has been going through a lot of pressure before the loss to Everton, the win to but what's the name of that team? Port Vale. So the point is, he needs to get the team together. And with all the talk in the media, Enzo Fernandez talking, Caicedo talking, Cucurella talking, everyone is talking. They need to talk on the field. And it's a game against Man City. A game against Man City is a good game to show that they really know what they're doing. Against the Port Vale was, like you said, low opposition. Yeah, that's not really challenging enough. Now, if we had lost, we'll be saying something different. We won, so yeah, let's give them kudos. But I am going in a little indifferent and just hopeful. And whatever comes out of this, hopefully they can learn from whatever result this gives, win, loss, or draw, and use that to build further, even if you lose the game. You understand? But I really think because a lot of these players have talked during the international break, they need to back up their speeches on the field. And I know a lot of them, there's a lot going on in Chelsea right now. And a lot has always been going on. But the best way to prove people wrong is on the field. It's not about what you say in the media. Nobody cares about all that. You're a footballer, play football. So the results on the field, the performance on the field is all that matters. Results is one thing, performance is another thing. If you can get both good, if you can't get both, at least get performance. Let's see that you are fighting. Let's see that you desire to win, and then we'll go from there.
Question. So Enzo was suspended. You talked about their comments, right? So a lot of Chelsea players, well, maybe 3 to 4, I think, made comments about not being settled at Chelsea, wanting to win things. They can't really confirm their futures, right? Enzo was suspended for that game against Port Vale. Is he back against Man City?
No.
Was that just
It's
a one
game
game
suspension?
Oh.
So it's Port Vale and Man City.
Yeah.
So Enzo is unavailable for this game.
Yeah.
Got it.
Huge.
Yeah, and I think Enzo was just used as a scapegoat because he's an assistant captain. So there's more. I mean, because what Enzo said and what Cucurella said, they're not that far apart. Similar things. Caicedo spoke positively. Gusto spoke positively. Somebody else said something. I don't remember who the fifth person is. But the point is, Cucurella could have been punished also, just like Enzo was. But it wasn't. Enzo is an assistant captain. He's the captain of the team when Reece is out, so he should know better. Now, am I mad at Enzo? Not necessarily. I think there's freedom of speech, like they say. According to him, all he said was, Madrid is a beautiful city. He would like to visit, blah, blah, blah. That's all he said. But they took it out of context. That's what he said, happened. But the point is, talk on the field. Like, you can't say because things are... And Enzo said some things that I agree with. It was against Sanchez, the goalkeeper, talking about calling out the goalkeeper, basically talking about we can't do all this work and then one mistake undoes everything. So I'm not totally against Enzo, but you gotta know when to talk and how to talk. And also sometimes it was bad timing. It was bad timing. If we are flying high and say some things, we'll let go. But so answer your question, yeah, it's gonna be Man City. Hopefully we can, because in my opinion, I'm actually an Enzo fan. A lot of Chelsea fans are not. I'm actually an Enzo fan. I see the work he does in our midfield, and I think he's a gem. So, but I won't be surprised if he sold this summer because of this industry, and if a good price comes, because that's the name of the game, right? If a good buyer comes, good price, it will be sold. But I think Enzo is one of the strengths of Chelsea, especially in the midfield, along with Caicedo. And I think he should just focus on playing ball, just doing what he does best. The talking part. If you're getting results, you don't have to talk. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Hopefully, he comes back after the Man City game and comes back strong to defeat Ohio's Man U.
Ooh.
Speaking of Ohio,
yes.
you're gonna help us talk about Man City today. Your noisy neighbors.
Look, I wish I could even join them for their parade, say when they were carrying Carabao Cup. Like I wish I would have joined them.
Wow. So City seem to have rediscovered their form. They seem to have found the balance in their team. Charles seemed to suggest that he might be surprised by a Chelsea win in this game, and he's most likely leaning towards a Chelsea draw loss. Do you see anything beyond a City win in this game?
I don't see anything in there, though, to be honest with you. I think after like the last 2 City draws in the EPL itself, and then going into them actually playing good football when it mattered. And this was like my biggest fear as to the fact that Haaland wasn't really scoring any goals and it wasn't creating any impact in games. But in the last 2 games, when it actually mattered, we saw what Haaland could do and all that kind of stuff. And even the last game when he scored multiple goals and all that too itself, you could basically see that. Once Man City starts to play like that now, they're very dangerous. I'm starting to see Guehi, which was going to be like my biggest case too to worry about Man City, was the fact that the rotation in the defense was getting a little bit too much. But once Guehi got there, somebody who has been experienced in the EPL, he made it solid. You could see the way he moved. He didn't really have to touch the ball in order for him to basically dictate the specific tempo that Man City was playing. And you could see it in those 2 games against a formidable Arsenal team and obviously against Liverpool itself. And man, they whooped them like out of the waters and all that stuff. But the main thing here now, can Chelsea say that they can basically win this game even though it's going to be in Stamford Bridge? I'll give it a low-scoring game, right? At this particular moment in time, it's not really that great, but we can give it like a two-goal lead or probably a 1-goal lead, because after Chelsea has basically gone to the game against Port Vale and basically scored 7 goals, even though I call them Mutiny FC now because they are the biggest club that they basically the players will mutiny against a specific coach to chase him out. Chelsea basically does that a lot. But now they're basically playing good football now at their sites at Europe. If everybody says that, hey, we're not playing for championships, we're not playing for this, we're not playing for when it matters, play football that will get you into the European game where you can actually prove and make your legacy something that people can look back at and say was basically great. That's basically how to put it. And Charles basically said it well. Can they win this game? I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
No chance.
Okay, so
that's all.
I'm gonna come to you.
I said I'm fine with 3 results. I'll take anything.
No
I won't say they can't win the game. It's still 11 versus 11. Anything can happen.
Okay, so as a Chelsea fan, you obviously want your team to win. Can you? What are the keys? What are the keys to this game for Chelsea? If Chelsea is to get a win from this game,
there's only one thing that matters: defense, 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 defense. I'll quote Enzo Fernandez, basically what he said. So Chelsea plays a style I don't really like. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you can still.
Yeah, you're back.
All right.
Yep.
A style of control where you are holding the ball, possession football. You try to control the ball for so long, frustrate the opponent, and then catch them on when they are sleeping in defense, or catch them on the counter, or catch them when they slip up a little bit. It doesn't always work, especially against the best teams. Now, if you do that for 60 minutes, and your goalkeeper or your defender slack when you're attacked and the opponent scores, then you are now panicking. It's been the Chelsea MO for the past couple of games. Maresca had his way of doing that, but also switching up. That's why I like Maresca a little bit, because he had games where he would do that, and he had games where he would high press. He knew how to switch things up. You understand? If he was facing PSG, he knew how to switch it up. If he was facing Bournemouth, he set up the team according to the opponent. Rossoneri, on the other hand, I think he's trying to build a certain style of play, which is what I just explained. Possession-based football, where you frustrate the enemy by holding on to the ball. Pep is very good at that. But it doesn't work for a team with an unstable defense. Well, I mentioned something earlier about Gueye coming into City's defense. There have been a couple of rotations in there. Kusanov, Diaz. I don't know if Stones is back. Ake once in a while. Gueye came in.
He's back. I think he got injured again.
He did, okay. So Gueye came in and stabilized that. Basically, right now, I think the problem Chelsea has, which is to answer your question, defense is the issue. If our defense is stabilized, we can challenge. Our attack is not a problem. Our midfield is solid. Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, Caicedo, Reece coming into the midfield, Palmer playing in the midfield. We have people in the midfield. In attack, João Pedro is firing. Our wingers are not the best. The likes of Garnacho was off and on, but he does when he's awake, he can do stuff. Neto, Esteval, we are good up front, but all that work you can score 3 goals and your opponent scores 4. The game, then your 3 goals are useless. You can score 1 and your opponent scores 2. The point is our defense is, and this is the problem. Every single championship team, and this is where my respect comes to Arsenal. I'll give Arsenal some props. In history, most times, the biggest teams that win championships, leagues, Champions League, they always have at least one solid defender with a backup. John Terry Carvalho, John Terry Gary Cahill, Rio Ferdinand and Vidic were both strong. Puyol and Barca. I can go on and on. Manchester United, I mentioned even Diaz in the season when City was solid in defense. Van Dijk, thank you. That's what I was going. Van Dijk for Liverpool. In Chelsea, there's nobody. Ever since Thiago Silva left, there's been nobody. Today, Chalobah is solid. Fofana is not. Tomorrow, Badiashile is awake. Hate Atto is not. Reece James plays there, is off and on. I can go on and on. But apparently, there's no Van Dijk in Chelsea. And I was giving props to us now. Gabriel and Saliba, in my opinion, being the strongest duo in EPL for the past 5 or 6 seasons. Now, Arsenal had their issues up front, maybe not finishing. Yeah, maybe 3 or 4, yeah. But the point is, Liverpool has Van Dijk. City has Diaz or Gueye for now. Man U, Martinez used to be the guy. There's a point was maybe Harry Maguire. Man U are figuring their own things out also. Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is Chelsea does not have a solid man in defense that can call the shots. Like Thiago Silva was the last person that was doing that. And after Thiago Silva left, which goes back to the talk of experience, buy someone who can read the game before the attack. Buy someone who can see the attack before it gets to you. Nobody's doing that. I thought Chalobah was going to be the man to do it, but I think his growth is appling, but it's not fast enough. So the defense is the problem in Chelsea. Now, it's not when I talk about defense, I'm not only talking about the defenders, I'm also talking about the goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Sanchez. He's decent shot stopper, very decent, but everything else is just really, really bad. He can't read the game. He can't control the back line. He basically, like I said, coaching Enzo Fernandez, we can't do all this work in controlling the game and get undone by just one mistake at the back. It's happened so many times. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. That's insanity. That's what insanity is, right? Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Yeah. So I keep going back at the owners. To cut my story short, the answer to your question is defense. If we get the work done in defense, we can win or we can get a draw. I keep going back to the owners. There are simple things pointing to the fact that you guys are lacking in something. You can't close a shared deal since your shared deals have been 3-6 months since you bought the club 5 years ago, however long it's been. Your shared deals, you've had a single year shared deal. That's one. You don't buy experienced players, and you bought Sterling, and it didn't work out, so you gave up buying experienced players. I understand you're a scar, but that's not how to run a club. So you back out on buying experienced players, but you expect these young boys to give you results. It doesn't work like that. And every single time there's a rumor of them buying an experienced player, they always back out. Osimhen, last year, Osimhen as an example, last summer, the rumor was big on Mike Maignan of AC Milan. Yeah. He was going to come with Robert Sanchez. That deal fell through. The point is, these guys know they need experienced players. But for one reason or the other, they can't close the deal. Yeah. They can't get experienced coaches. There's a reason why PSG's coach, what's his name?
Luis
Enrique interviewed for the Chelsea job and backed out. There's a reason why Enzo Maresca paved his way in, got 2 trophies, asked for more support, and he was fired. Because something is wrong up there, and when they are challenged, they can't, the ego comes in. So it was glaring last season that Robert Sanchez was not the man for Chelsea. It was glaring. We had like 7 or 6 goalkeepers. It was glaring, but none of them was worth it. The money they used to buy all those goalkeepers, they could have bought an Alisson. They could have bought a Raya. What do they call this guy? What's the former Man U keeper's name? De Gea.
You guys could have kept Kepa.
No, Kepa is
not Kepa.
Kepa is not the man. So the point I'm trying to make is this: when I say the defense is the issue, I'm talking about the whole defense line and the goalkeeper. These guys are inexperienced. They are shaky. They lack confidence, and it shows in the game. So in a game where you pass the ball back, he kicks the ball out, everything is good. The attackers are over there, the ball comes in, you can pass to the defender. But when the attackers come at you, then because that's when you're tested. And unfortunately, it's proven over. So the fact that this was the case last season, and this is the case this season, it goes back to the owners. The fact that they almost signed Mike Maignan and didn't complete that deal, it goes back to the owners. So it's just at the end of the day, you can't do more than what you have. You can't expect a cat to back. It doesn't work that way. So what we're expecting Sanchez to deliver, or we're expecting Fofana and coach to deliver, they can't because they are not there yet. Which is the same thing I told Bjorn the other day about Rosenel. What we're expecting Rosenel to deliver, he can't deliver because he's not there yet. He hasn't passed through some things, like asking a child to run when child hasn't crawled yet. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. So, to answer your question, that defense, our best defensive peer is Chalobah and Fofana. But they are even Fofana. I don't even like Fofana.
Yeah, Fofana seems to have gone away from the best. He used to be your best defender at some point.
It was our best defender for like 2 weeks. For like 2.
No,
Then he'll get injured.
I think before the ACL injury, he was your best defender, and then he had that ACL injury, and then he's had more injuries.
Do you
since
realize
then.
he
He's
barely
just
played for the ACL injury? Fofana came from
yeah.
Leicester City, barely played and got injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the 2 weeks I'm talking about.
I know.
He wasn't our best defender for so long. On paper, he's our best defender. It looks like he has the potential to be our best defender. But when the ball starts moving, Chalobah is
True. I mean, even Badiashile is not.
What has changed for Man City? What is it that has Man City ticking now? Can you highlight maybe a couple of things you might have noticed?
I would say that is Pep Guardiola basically sticking to what basically works, right? We would have seen times like this where Pep Guardiola would decide to start Savinho on the right side that we haven't seen all season long, or probably on the left side, probably start, maybe move Semenyo somewhere to basically work those.
You're good.
We got you.
So, but now he knows those are the things that basically work. Like, let's say Doku now, I saw a lot, even in the last 2 games. You take the ball, go at that guy, man. Even if, think about it, you have 2 passes, pass in front or pass in the back for the midfielder that is coming in. If Ireland doesn't get it, the midfielder will get it. And then on the right side now, we have Semenyo, who's basically almost a direct player too as well. Reminds me of the time when Mahrez was also playing on those specific wings and all that. You could basically see
Mahrez and Sterling.
Yeah, correct. Like they will just go at you all day long. Yep. The thing there now, I would say that is probably Rodri now coming out of that injury. It takes somebody a little while now because there's been a little bit of calmness. And then I've seen that, most especially that midfield defensive role shift a little bit high. David Silva now, is basically Bernardo Silva now is now doing his thing, running everywhere. You could see him popping up in different pockets around the midfield and all. So you could see that free fluidity. And I would say that Rodri basically has been that key. Defensively, sometimes I keep saying this, Guardiola just gets in his head sometimes. But I think once he saw Gay and it was like, this guy has Premier League experience. I didn't have to go to the Portuguese league or go to some French league to go get him and prove to everybody that he's a good player, or even Kuzunov, that I don't even know where Kuzunov was playing before he came to the EPL. But at the same time, we know what Gay has done. He has played game after game for Crystal Palace for probably five seasons without any injuries. So he knew what he was getting. And once that guy got there, it was just basically it from there, man. So I'm just impressed. He's not second guessing or overthinking his strategies anymore.
I want to add a point to what Hawaii is saying. You mentioned Gay and you mentioned Kusanov. With all due respect to City, Guardiola scouting people who scout, Kusanov is actually terrible. He's actually very. He's
very quick.
Yes. So the thing is, Kusanov is I want to use the word immature. He's still learning the league, and it shows. Yeah. It shows a lot. Unlike O'Reilly. If you watch O'Reilly play, you see there's a I want to use the word swagger about him, that even though I'm still learning, I will play this ball with you. Kusanov is actually very shaky, he lacks confidence. But Gay playing beside him, the past couple of weeks, Kusanov has been on fire.
Yeah. Because Kusanov is quick. So you might even recall the Salah chance, against them in the FA Cup. It was his speed that helped him recover against that chance because he was caught out of position, had no idea where it was, and then he was able to catch up back to Salah. Yeah,
so it goes back to having someone who's experienced, who know what they're doing. Right. And I remember when Thiago Silva was there in Chelsea, I don't remember who his partners were, and I didn't care. Yeah. When you see Thiago Silva, there's like Puyol, like Pepe in Real Madrid, Puyol in Barca. These guys will scream at you, will tell you, if you mess up. I saw Van Dijk today, even though Liverpool lost. I saw him at some points when he was telling people to move this way, move this way. The point is, nobody's doing that at Chelsea. Nobody's doing that. All of them are all age mates, so nobody can tell anybody anything.
Leader.
Exactly.
And they haven't won anything. They need to bring a winner or somebody.
All right, I'm gonna switch tack now, and let's look at predictions for the weekend, and then of course I'll take you guys' prediction for the Chelsea City game when we get there. So the league actually resumes on Friday this week, and first up is West Ham against Wolves. So it's bottom versus bottom, 20th versus 18th, right? And I'll start with you, Charles. What's your prediction for this game?
Man, I don't know. These guys they can be very confusing sometimes. Like they'll play a game and they'll play like their lives depend on it, which he kind of does at the moment because they try and fight for relegation. And then on that game, they're just like lackluster and just chilling.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to read, but I think because of the Nuno factor, I would give it to West Ham just because. And also, I know Wolves deep down, they all know they're already relegated. I don't know what they're fighting. They know they've been relegated since like week 7 or so. So they know they're relegated. So for that reason alone, West Ham still has a fighting chance. Wolves does not. I'll give it to West
Ham. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Arsenal start us off on Saturday against Bournemouth.
Oof. Man, the draw kings, man, of Bournemouth, man. The ones that can play, but yet still end up in draws, man, and all. It's an early
Sounds
game.
like you didn't forget that over your holiday.
I didn't forget that, man. Man, but at the same time, like Arsenal is basically vying for the league at this time, man. And this is basically time to put up or shut up, man. And all. Bournemouth, they're a formidable team. Yes, they will. And then now we know that they can keep you to a low-scoring game, and basically they will score you 1 goal, and then that will basically be it. So Arsenal needs to basically score 2 or more in order to actually come up tops in this specific game and all that. In as much as they have some injuries and all, I still believe that Arsenal can still pull it off. Kai Havertz has been coming off the bench and been doing some great and amazing things. Gyökeres has just been playing lights out, in as much as the goals haven't really been falling. And then obviously Madueke on the right side too has been doing well. But we know now this is the time. You have to do it. This is a good game. This is a big game. It might end up 1-1, but I'm backing Arsenal to say, Arsenal, this is your day to shine. Shine. Oh man, Man City is coming, man. Man City is coming. So
shine on the league is mine.
Yeah.
What's your prediction then?
2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal. Okay. All right, I'll take it. All right, Brentford Everton. I'll take this one. I'm gonna go with a draw. Just simply because both teams, Everton have been doing really well under Moyes. Brentford as well have shocked us, and they're up there vying for Europe. I'm gonna go ahead and just say this will be a draw, and both teams will balance each other out.
Fair.
All right, Burnley 19th come up against Brighton, who have been up and down. Charles, what's your prediction?
Yeah, so for the rest of the season, there's some teams I will predict. I won't give a draw. I will even give a win.
Yeah,
Burnley is one of them. Burnley and Wolves.
Yeah,
and I know deep down they can play and fight for ego, or maybe a scout is watching, but I don't think it will transcend across the whole team. So I'm giving this win to Brighton.
Okay.
Just because Brighton still has something to fight for and Burnley does not.
Okay. All right, Liverpool, Fulham.
Oh man, this is a big one, man. I mean, I've watched Liverpool play so many times in the last couple of weeks, even today as well. I was very interested in their performance in the Champions League. Unfortunately, they met a juggernaut in PSG that basically, that's what they do. They play those kinds of games. But against Fulham, right? Fulham has been doing amazing as well. I think that was 1 loss, 1 draw, and then their last outing against Burnley, they went up 3-1. On the side of Liverpool, they basically lost that game against Brighton 2-1, and then Wolves, and then they drew with Tottenham themselves. Is this the time for them to basically play? I know Slot has basically been under the microscope for quite some time now. Do I feel like this is a game in which he can separate himself? There's nothing to play for, if you ask me, man. The Champions League is already cooked. Do they need to go to Europe in order to make sure that their investors are happy so he doesn't lose his job? Yes, but Fulham is not that kind of team where you can say that, we're going to walk into this and win. So it's either going to be a draw, and if they don't play Mo Salah because they basically missed him out there in the wing, man, look, man, Fulham is basically going to take this one 2-1, man, if you ask me.
Wow. Another loss for Anslot. Do you think he survives till next season? All right.
I think that they will keep him, but he's not going to be their coach beginning of the season next year. It's not. He doesn't match. Yes, he has won 1 Premier League already, and that is hard to basically come by with a new coach after only a couple of people have been able to do what he was able to do.
5
and all. So
5
you see, so for him to basically like the venture capitalists, right? Most especially American investors, they're people that don't have patience. It's either you create results or we kick you out. So and then they've taken over some specific teams around the world now, and kind of culture going on.
But I'll counter that to say, I think he will be the coach next season. Here are my reasons. Venture capitalists, yeah, they are investors.
I gotta hear.
Most times they're not short-term investors. The buying of Isaac, who else did they buy? Basically,
Diego Lionel.
I'm sorry?
I said Verts, Ekitike, Diego Lionel.
I don't think those guys were bought for instant success. Now, if it happened, cool. If it did not happen, I think they had a plan. This is where I make the case. Once Salah announced he was leaving, I knew Slot won. And then they were going to black Slot.
Yeah.
Once that announcement came out, I just knew. Because at the end of the day, and that's why Slot was able to bench Salah today and not even bring him on, even though he needed to go. Because he knew he had the backing of the bosses. Yeah, so I don't think Slot is going anywhere. Now, next season, if this happens again, then... Because the thing is, he just won the league. They're the defending champions right now.
Yeah.
As we're talking right now, they're still in Champions League. As I'm speaking right now, they're fifth on the table. They're still in Champions League position. So how bad is he really doing? Yeah, it's probably going to go trophyless. But if he makes it to Champions League, they're fine. So the point is, I don't think it's as bad as people are making it seem. It seems that way because one, they just won the league. Two, they spent a lot of money. But most investors don't
$500 million
short term. I'm sorry?
I said $500 million, but
$500 million, yeah. So the point is, the moment Salah announced he was leaving, I think Slot just had his way. And I think Slot is going to be their manager next season. Now, at the end of next season, how next season ends will determine if he's going to go further or not.
I know.
Interesting. Okay, so Slot stays. All right. Back to the predictions. All right. Crystal Palace against Newcastle. Oh, man. This is going to be another tough one.
I think
Crystal Palace struggled for a bit there with all the speculation about Glasner leaving. Newcastle too seem to have been struggling, then they seem to have found some form. I'm gonna go ahead on a limb and just call this one and say Crystal Palace will take it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna call a win for Crystal Palace. I think at this point, Newcastle, I think, are feeling a bit defeated inside of themselves, which is weird to say. Like they're a team that over the past few seasons where they have been fighting for Champions League places, then they were in the Champions League this season. They're out now. But when it comes to the league, I feel like they try and then they're like, oh, it's not working. We're not where we should be, and they just kind of give up and implode. They struggle with the injuries as well, to be fair, but I'm gonna go ahead and give this one to Crystal Palace.
Fair.
Charles, Forest against Villa.
This is where I want to combine what I want and what should happen. My desire versus my prediction.
Yeah.
But I think Villa are balling.
Yeah.
I also think Villa right now, Emery being who he is with the history he has in Europa League, are way more focused on Europa League.
That's fair.
Yes, because they know win that trophy, it doesn't matter where you end in the league. Like Spurs showed us last season. It doesn't. You could be 17. I mean, it matters if you're on relegation, but you could be 17, 16, 15. Win that trophy, Europa League, and you're top of the world. So I think that's where Unai Emery's focus is going to be, and I think for that reason, this will be a draw. Because Nottingham Forest, if you can show me the table real quick, they are still kind of close to relegation, right?
I don't think so. No.
You don't think so? So they're not anything to fight for?
No. Forest are the 16th. Actually, yeah, you're right. They're close.
Exactly. If they lose this game and Spurs wins, Spurs goes above them. So so Nottingham Forest have something to fight for, and for that reason, it's going to be a big fight. So I expect I'm gonna call it a draw for this game. No, so it's a big fight, but Aston Villa is just gonna take the punches. They're still gonna fight back. But I think because their mind is gonna be focused on Europa, and they may not even start their best players, honestly. I think
they play on Thursday, then they have this game 3 days later, and then they're going to play in the second leg of the Europa League again. So
exactly,
you're right.
So they do need to focus more on Europa, because win those games, win that trophy, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a draw for that game.
That's not bad.
All right. Sunderland, Tottenham.
Man, my Cinderella story in Sunderland, man. Like, I can't believe it. They came out of the championship and then they're basically 11th on the EPL table. I just saw that too as well. But they've basically been doing what they're supposed to do. They remind me of the Evertons, the Bournemouth, and all of the past. People who basically win the games that you're supposed to win, draw the ones that you're supposed to draw, and maybe lose the games that you're supposed to lose, and then you'll be safe. At least that mid-table team and all. Tottenham, man, we know inclusion of a new coach and all can basically help you with your trajectory at any time in the season. Change of culture, change of strategy, as well as that new look into some of the things in which you were doing in the past. De Zerbi is not a slouch. He left. He took Brighton and Algovin, made sure that they were at least a good mid-table team. Went to France. Unfortunately, to be able to face the juggernaut of a team in PSG is hard. But we basically saw the pedigree of the players he basically utilized in in France, and then now with him coming in Marseille, and then now with him coming into this Tottenham team, it could be almost the same thing. Tottenham has been plagued with a lot of injuries, so he doesn't have a lot of talent to basically work with. But can that basically help them move up in the league? Man, they're meeting Sunderland. If they win this game, this basically changes it, because Sunderland is not just a walkover team. Even if it's one goal, watch Richarlison now basically playing lights out. I used to watch Marseille in France. They had this guy they used to play on the left. I think it was Neves or so. Brilliant Brazilian dude.
Igor Paixão.
Yeah?
Igor Paixão.
Yeah, dude, we basically played lights out for this guy. And then now think about it. All I just want to see is, okay, really, how do you position this team to succeed? Is everything going to be in their favor to basically win this game? Hell yeah. So that's why I'm giving it to Tottenham. I don't want to ramble so much about this. I'm just saying they have everything in their favor. And if he wins this, man, they might end up in 11th position by the end of the season. But they got to play one game.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What exactly is Spurs' problem?
Injuries this year.
No. Injuries are a short-term problem.
Yeah.
But they didn't have injuries last season when they ended up in 17th.
Yeah.
The downward spiral has been happening for a couple of years. If you've been watching them, what exactly? And me, I used to think it was their former boss, the former Levy, Daniel Levy. I thought Daniel Levy was the issue, but Levy is gone.
Yeah.
So what exactly is Spurs' problem?
Maybe it was Levy who was keeping them up there.
True.
Yeah.
But you know that whenever you change coaches like that, right? Most especially the way Tottenham has done it, right? I think that even after Pochettino and all, they haven't really gotten any stable.
They got Mourinho and Conte, guys. They had Mourinho and Conte.
I mean, but to have Mourinho and Conte, you need like people in the leadership that bought into their specific visions. When he went to Chelsea, we understood the thing, as well as Mourinho. When both of those coaches went to your club, Chelsea, they had an owner that was going to back them for, hey, if you're going to play 3-5, whatever, 5-3, whatever. If you say you want Cavallo and this person in the back, we are going to give you everything you want. But now you went into a Tottenham team, you go into a Man U team, and you're like, we don't have money for all these bright ideas, man. You got to play whatever you have.
But Spurs do have money, though.
But did they spend with those two specific coaches? No, they didn't. They were like, work with what you have. And then they didn't really, Mourinho wants a specific type of player. Same as Conte. They want a specific to play in that specific system. And if you can't give them those, work with whatever you have, work with. And don't forget, Tottenham built that new stadium. They've been trying their best possible to recoup that. So to say that they spend $250 million, $500 million like Liverpool, they would do that.
But the thing is, I don't even know if I want to talk about money for them, because they have the talents. I look at their players and I'm like, it's like a head scratcher realizing where they are in the table. They have talent. They've bought talent. Now, maybe cheap talent, but they've bought talent in the past couple of summers. No, as of right now, the Tottenham, now they have injuries, I know, but the players they have are solid players in most positions. Yeah. I mean, these are players that if they get relegated now, the likes of Man U, City will become the Van der Veens, the Romeros, Richarlison, and who's the Ghanaian guy on the wing? Is my biggest guy. Kudus. Yeah. And then there's the one that's always getting injured. Madison.
Kudus has been injured for a while.
Yeah. I know. But the point I'm trying to make is these guys have the players. Even when these players were not injured, they still had issues. So I don't think injury is the issue. I think there's so much more going on.
Oh, man. Let's see. De Zerbi can do a good job because he did so. And we go against the wire for players that he wants and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping.
And the other thing with De Zerbi is just like Brighton, right? Brighton had this way of pulling out players that you've never heard of before, and they just absolutely ball out once they're in.
Yep.
And I think he might be able to bring that to Tottenham to, at least in the short term, help them find players either in the academy or even with the existing players that are fit, help them find a structure to get results that keeps them in the league. So
I also think De Zerbi coming at this point is actually quite interesting. I think he's in a position of work what you have. I mean, there's no transfer right now. And I think he has a decent squad to work with, barring the injuries. But I'll ask one question, just one question. Do you guys think Spurs makes it?
I think they will. I think they will.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Just because of that change.
I wouldn't care if they really get it. It would be fun for me as an Arsenal fan. To be like, you guys are not even in our league.
Same here.
It's not even mind the gap anymore. It's mind the league.
Exactly.
But
you think they're gonna make it?
I think so, man. It feels like that Sam Allardyce change that always happened at this time of the year for a couple of years.
Bring us saying that because of De Zerbi, right? It's because of De Zerbi.
Yeah, just because of that coach. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'll take both of you guys' prediction of Chelsea versus Man City. I'll start with you, Charles.
When I'm torn between desire and prediction, usually go for it.
That's why I said 2-2.
Yeah. Not gonna work.
You wish.
Not gonna work.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 2-1. Man City is gonna pull this off. Chelsea is gonna score. If they don't keep it close, it's probably gonna increase like 3 or so.
Is Caicedo available?
We'll face you next, and the rod to be upon you.
I want to be there. I want to be there for that game.
That Man U game.
Live.
That one, I won't be doing with my desire and my prediction. No, we are beating you guys.
Is Caicedo available for this game against City?
Yeah, he is. Everyone, even Enzo will be back against Man U. So Caicedo is available for this game. So it's probably going to be Caicedo Lavia in the midfield.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, defense, right? You guys, I don't know. Caicedo seems to not be at his best since Maresca left. It was like Maresca gave him the freedom to run that midfield. It was your
only
best.
One person has been at his best is Maresca left. João Pedro.
Rhys James too, I think.
Rhys James, how many games has he played?
Yeah.
João Pedro has been the man since Maresca left.
Did you see Maresca's post, man, during the break? I was like, everybody.
Yeah, I saw that.
So what did he say?
He just posted.
Yeah. Oh.
He said a lot of things. Basically saying he's glad he's out.
Yeah, he was happy. He was with his family, chilling.
Yeah. He was on the beach. That was a summary. He's glad he's out. And Rescali, I'm happy for him, honestly, because employers need to understand that, people are replaceable, but you don't just kick them out because they are replaceable. Because you may spend 5 years, 10 years replacing them. Or you may never even replace them because you don't know how to pick up replacements.
True.
I mean, obviously they don't. That's why we're where we are right now, but we'll see.
I don't see Chelsea winning this game. I think possibly a draw at best.
I didn't know you're going to predict also.
Yeah, I'm predicting today, so I figure I might as well do it. Anyway, so we'll see. Man U leads. I'll give this one to Charles. What's your prediction?
Manchester United.
Show us love.
Which love? I don't even know if I have beef for mine. I don't have, because honestly, you guys have been in pain for so long. You deserve
continue.
But the problem is you guys are in the spot where we want to be.
Yeah.
But if you win this game, then you can calm down against us. So you're gonna win this game, then lose against us. That's a great.
Okay.
That game is gonna win.
Man U win. I mean, Man U, you guys are balling. Man U win. And I also want Bruno, my guy, to beat KDB's and Thierry Henry's assists numbers. So I'm going to be rooting for Man U when they're not playing Chelsea.
That's good. Thanks. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And on that note, we ended on a happy note. Thank you guys as always for coming on.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, all right.
We'll see how the results shape up.